Hi, I'm Steve Baer, and I'm here to talk about how you can turn passive training into active learning. When we think about traditional training, we think of about a 30-minute e-learning module. That's standard in the industry, but honestly, it's too long, it's often too passive, quite often very boring, and it puts people to sleep. So, where has the industry been going? More and more we're hearing about micro-training. What is micro-training? Micro-training is digestible content. Think tops 3 minutes of content. It often uses video format. It's going to use a little bit of written format. And we encourage people to use games as well. It's about how do you get people in, how do you get them to learn, how do you get them out, and how do you have them remember that content as a result. You know, it's really interesting. The average person has an 8-second attention span. To put that in perspective, the average goldfish has a 9-second attention span. We at the Game Agency, we believe that we are change agents. We want to turn long, passive training into short, active learning. We want to get people excited, we want to get people engaged, and we want to increase the level of knowledge retention. We're all familiar with the learning curve and the forgetting curve, where people learn, and within just a few days they forget almost all of what they've just picked up. So, thinking about passive training, audio, presentations, video, in all those cases, people remember between 5 and 30% of what they've learned just a few days later. Gosh, that's a lot of money thrown out the door. But when you turn things on its head and you actually get them engaged with the content, you can get your retention up to 75%. That's because they're actually digging in and participating with the content on a much deeper level. Games also have the benefit of being entertaining. Thinking about characters, thinking about storylines, thinking about creating something that someone actually cares about. When you can get someone immersed in a story, you're going to get them to remember that content on a much deeper level. So it's not just about active learning versus passive learning. It's about continuous learning. Practice, practice, practice. The more you can get someone to practice with your content, the more they're going to retain it, right? So we use games because it really offers a practice playground. They're going to be engaged, they're going to remember, and they're going to be able to be a lot more effective in the workforce. So we've talked about length, micro, we've talked about repetition, we've talked about entertainment, and now we have to think about where people are training. Today's day and age, the average person uses their phone 63 times a day. Gosh, well, why don't we take training to mobile? Games are phenomenal for that. Think about how often people are playing games on their mobile devices. Well, if you take your training and you make it more mobile, most likely they're going to actually engage with it on a more regular basis. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about is social. If you can make your content social, competitive, collaborative, add a component where people are actually engaging each other to understand the content on a deeper level, you have won big time. And you've taken something from passive and boring to fun and entertaining. So what's the result? An engaged learner with increased attention, sustained focus, improved confidence, more retained information, changed behavior, higher performance, and much more revenue for your company. It seems like a no-brainer. So for more information about game-based training, go to thegameagency.com.